Hollywood's golden age was a time when stars felt like they were on a whole other level. And with that fame came a fair share of wild tales.
Woo! You never saw me dive, did you, Blaine?
You little devil, I like you this way.
From hidden romances to baffling disappearances, the rumor mill was always churning. Some of these stories turned out to be true, while others were so unbelievable they had to be fiction. But each one is now woven into the rich tapestry of Hollywood history. So grab some popcorn, settle in, and let's dive into 20 of the most shocking rumors from the golden age of Hollywood. A strange demise. The mysterious death of filmmaker Thomas Ince in 1924 remains one of Hollywood's most debated scandals. At the time, Ince was a successful filmmaker and the founder of Triangle Pictures, later to become MGM. After selling his studio, he hosted a lavish party to lift his spirits. He invited some of Hollywood's biggest names, including media mogul William Randolph Hearst. Hearst even offered his private yacht for the occasion. What started as a fun celebration quickly turned dark. Ince fell ill during the party and was taken to a nearby city for treatment. He was sent home but died 2 days later, with doctors attributing his death to heart disease. The official story seemed simple, but the public wasn't convinced, sparking rumors that Ince might have been poisoned or given something toxic at the party. An even more shocking theory emerged later. Hearst, who was fiercely protective of his mistress, Marion Davies, supposedly believed Charlie Chaplin was having an affair with her. In a jealous rage, Hearst allegedly pulled out a gun to shoot Chaplin, but the bullet missed and struck Ince instead. Some speculated that Hearst covered up the incident with hush money to prevent a scandal. While this dramatic theory made headlines, most experts believe Ince's death was likely due to his poor health and the stress of the party. Despite this, the bizarre circumstances surrounding his death kept Hollywood buzzing for years, and the truth remains a mystery to this day. The It Girl. Clara Bow, the darling of the silent film era, was beloved for her beauty, charm, and bold personality. But by the early 1930s, a series of shocking rumors tarnished her once thriving career. These rumors ranged from alcohol and drug abuse to wild sexual escapades. They quickly turned her image from Hollywood's sweetheart to a scandalous figure. So where did these rumors come from? It all began in 1930 when Clara's secretary, Daisy DeVoe, was fired after a falling out. In retaliation, Daisy stole personal documents, jewelry, and a large sum of money from Clara's accounts. Daisy sued for wrongful termination. During the trial, evidence exposed some of Clara's private details. This gave the tabloids plenty of fuel for sensational stories. Some of the rumors were surely exaggerated. But Clara was known for her party-loving ways and had multiple affairs, which was scandalous for a woman of that era. The publicity from the trial and the gossip surrounding her private life led to her losing her contract with Paramount Pictures. This loss sent her career into a sharp decline. Clara Bow's fall from grace was as dramatic as her rise to fame. While she wasn't guilty of all the accusations made against her, a vengeful secretary and a messy legal battle were enough to end her reign as Hollywood's sweetheart. A secret marriage. In September 1932, filmmaker Paul Byrne married the famous actress Jean Harlow. Just 2 months later, Byrne tragically died from an apparent suicide. His body was found in their home, with a gun in his hand and a note left behind for Harlow. At the time, police didn't suspect foul play and believed it was a suicide. However, rumors began to swirl that Byrne may have been murdered by a woman he was having an affair with, possibly to protect Harlow's career from scandal. The story started to take a strange turn after it was revealed that Byrne had never officially divorced his first wife, Dorothy Millette. Millette had struggled with mental health issues. She had been living in a sanitarium, but Byrne continued to support her financially. After his death, she mysteriously disappeared. Her body was later found floating in the Sacramento River. Many people started to speculate that Millette, feeling betrayed by Byrne's new marriage to Harlow, may have killed him before taking her own life. Others wondered if MGM had covered up the truth to protect Harlow's image. The studio had a reputation for managing its stars' public relations, so some believed they might have pushed the idea of suicide to keep things clean. However, the evidence doesn't support these rumors. A coroner's inquest suggested that Byrne had long struggled with depression and had talked about suicide for years. His friends testified that the pressures of his marriage and career might have contributed to his death. Millette's death was ruled as a suicide as well, with no proof of foul play. Tragedy in Hollywoodland. In 1932, the Hollywood sign became the site of a tragic event that left a lasting mark on Hollywood history. At the time, the sign read Hollywoodland, and it was here that actress Peg Entwistle ended her life. Peg had come to Hollywood with dreams of stardom, but despite her efforts, success eluded her. Originally a Broadway actress, she moved to Los Angeles and landed a role in 13 Women, which was supposed to be her big break. After completing the film, Peg was devastated to learn that RKO Pictures would not renew her contract. Overwhelmed by the rejection, she told her uncle she was going to the drugstore and would meet friends later. Instead, she climbed the Hollywoodland sign, making the heartbreaking decision to end her life. Later that day, a woman hiking near the sign found a jacket, a shoe, and a purse with a note inside. As she continued down the mountain, she discovered Peg's lifeless body. The actress had jumped from the H in the sign, ending her life in a moment of despair. Peg's tragic death became a sensational story in the tabloids, earning her the nickname Hollywood Sign Girl. Her story has lived on for decades, remembered by many who reflect on her struggles. In 2014, a group of 100 people gathered to watch 13 Women, Peg's only major role, to honor her memory. Proceeds from the event went to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, ensuring that Peg's tragic story continues to raise awareness and help others. A quick divorce. In the late 1940s, Ingrid Bergman was one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Known for her natural charm and clean-cut image, she had won an Academy Award for Gaslight and was adored by fans. However, in 1950, her life took a dramatic turn when she began an affair with Italian director Roberto Rossellini, while both were still married to other people. Bergman admired Rossellini's work and had even written to him in 1949, asking for a role in his film Stromboli. During the movie's production, their affair began. When news of the relationship spread, it shocked the public, especially because Bergman was pregnant with Rossellini's child. At the time, Hollywood's moral standards were strict, and this affair caused a scandal. The public's reaction was intense. A U.S. senator even spoke out against Bergman, calling her a vile free love cultist and urging that her films not be shown in the United States. Bergman's once immaculate image was tarnished, and her career in America came to a halt. She was effectively exiled from Hollywood. Bergman chose to stay in Italy with Rossellini, but her personal life wasn't any easier. Her ex-husband, Petter Lindstrom, fought for custody of their daughter, Pia, and Bergman wouldn't see her daughter for 7 years. Despite the backlash, Bergman made a comeback in the mid-1950s. She returned to Hollywood with the film Anastasia, which was a hit with American audiences. In 1957, she won her second Oscar for the role, though she was still cautious about returning to the States. Her co-star, Cary Grant, accepted the award on her behalf and expressed admiration for her. Over time, Bergman rebuilt her career with roles in films like Murder on the Orient Express and Cactus Flower. By the end of the 1950s, even the senator who had criticized her publicly apologized. Bergman's scandal had faded, and she continued acting until she died in 1982. A love child. Clark Gable, known as the King of Hollywood, had a secret affair with his co-star Loretta Young during the filming of Call of the Wild in 1935. The affair resulted in Young becoming pregnant with Gable's child, despite Gable already being married. Fearing the consequences on their careers, Young decided to keep the pregnancy a secret. To hide the situation, Young disappeared for several months. When she returned, she claimed to have adopted a child, but the baby closely resembled Gable. To further conceal the truth, Young even had her daughter's ears surgically pinned back. While many suspected the baby wasn't adopted, the full story remained a mystery for years. The truth behind the pregnancy and Young's efforts to cover it up stayed hidden until much later. In the 1990s, Young's daughter-in-law revealed that a 1998 Larry King Live episode helped Young realize that her child was conceived during a non-consensual encounter. At the time, being an unwed mother in Hollywood was seen as scandalous, and Young feared the impact it would have on her career. To protect herself and her future, she carefully orchestrated the story of an adoption. The secret of Gable and Young's affair and the child they had together remained concealed for decades. While the public never learned the full truth during Young's lifetime, the details eventually came to light, revealing the hidden history of one of Hollywood's most famous stars. Illness to death. The Fatty Arbuckle trial is one of Hollywood's most infamous stories. Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle was a famous silent film star in the 1920s. He was known for his large size and comedic roles, and he had signed one of the biggest studio deals of his time. However, his career came crashing down after a tragic event that became a national scandal. In 1921, Arbuckle was hosting a party in San Francisco when an actress named Virginia Rapp was found severely ill in his hotel room. She was later seen by a doctor who determined that her illness was due to excessive alcohol consumption. A few days later, Rapp died from a ruptured bladder. Arbuckle was arrested and charged with her death, with some claiming that he had assaulted her and caused the injury due to his size. The trial that followed was full of false testimonies and rumors. Some witnesses claimed that Arbuckle had sexually assaulted Rapp, but these accusations were later proven false. It turned out that Rapp had a history of alcohol abuse and had suffered from internal injuries that were worsened by her drinking. The court eventually cleared Arbuckle of any wrongdoing, and the judge issued a formal apology for the way he had been treated. Despite being acquitted, Arbuckle's career was never the same. The media had already ruined his reputation, and many believed the false accusations. Though he was eventually cleared, the damage to his public image was done, and some say his career was never fully restored. The Fatty Arbuckle trial shows how rumors and scandals can destroy careers, even when the truth is eventually revealed. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin is remembered as one of Hollywood's greatest icons, known for his comedic genius and timeless films. However, his personal life, especially his marriage to his second wife, Lita Grey, changed his public image forever. Chaplin's first two marriages were to women who were only 16 years old at the time. His second marriage was rushed after Grey claimed she was pregnant, though that turned out to be untrue. Despite this, they had 2 sons together. When Chaplin and Grey went to court for their divorce, the world saw Chaplin painted as a terrible husband and father. He was accused of being abusive, absent, and even a womanizer with a tendency to date much younger women. The divorce settlement was a record-breaking $800,000, the largest in American history at the time. This scandal severely damaged Chaplin's reputation, but it didn't stop there. Just a month after his fourth wife turned 18, Chaplin, at 60 years old, married her. Oddly enough, before marrying Chaplin, she had been dating author J.D. Salinger, known for writing The Catcher in the Rye. Chaplin first met her when she was just 12 years old during his divorce from Lita Grey. While that alone might sound strange, Chaplin waited until she was 16 to start pursuing her. Eventually, the girl became pregnant, and Chaplin, fearing criminal charges, secretly married her. They had 2 children before divorcing. As if his personal life wasn't complicated enough, Chaplin's career took a hit from political controversies. During the Cold War, his outspoken social criticism led some to believe he was a communist sympathizer. This caught the eye of FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Chaplin's troubles worsened when his 1947 film Monsieur Verdoux criticized capitalism. The government began investigating him. In 1952, after a trip to England, Chaplin's re-entry permit was revoked. This effectively exiled him from the U.S. He never fully returned to Hollywood and spent the rest of his life in Switzerland. However, he made a brief return in 1972 to accept an honorary Oscar. Fallen hero. Errol Flynn was one of Hollywood's biggest stars during the Golden Age, known for his action-packed roles like The Adventures of Robin Hood. However, his personal life was far from the heroic image he portrayed on screen. In 1943, Flynn faced serious accusations of sexual assault. 2 teenage girls, Betty Hansen and Peggy Satley, claimed he drugged their drinks and assaulted them. The case went to trial, and the district attorney, aware of Flynn's fame, ensured the jury was mostly made up of women to level the playing field. Flynn had a powerful ally in Jerry Giesler, one of Hollywood's most famous defense lawyers. He was known for getting his clients acquitted in high-profile cases. Giesler cross-examined the two girls, questioning their credibility and turning the case in Flynn's favor. In the end, Flynn was acquitted of all charges, and the case was dismissed. Many still believed he was guilty, but his fame and connections likely helped him avoid conviction. Although Flynn was cleared in court, the scandal severely damaged his reputation. His career never fully recovered, and his popularity declined in the years following the trial. Flynn passed away in 1959, but his legacy as a Hollywood icon remains, despite the controversy that haunted him. His story serves as a reminder that fame and power can sometimes protect people from the consequences of their actions. Prescription misuse. Olive Thomas was a popular silent film actress in the early 1900s, known for her beauty and bold, risque photo shoots. Her life, however, was filled with personal turmoil, including multiple marriages and affairs. One of the most significant relationships was with actor Jack Pickford, the younger brother of Mary Pickford. They married in 1916, but their marriage was troubled due to Jack's infidelities. In 1920, Jack contracted syphilis, which he passed on to Olive. At the time, syphilis was treated with bichloride of mercury, a toxic solution. The couple took a vacation to Paris, and on the night of September 25, 1920, tragedy struck. After returning to their hotel room in the early hours, Olive accidentally ingested the poison. She died a few days later. Initially, her death was thought to be a tragic accident. However, rumors quickly spread that Olive had taken the poison intentionally after learning about Jack's affair and his disease. Some believed that Jack might have poisoned Olive to collect her life insurance money, as she had a substantial policy. The true circumstances surrounding her death have never been fully explained, and some still suspect foul play. Despite the suspicions, the coroner ruled Olive's death as accidental. At just 25 years old, Olive Thomas's life was tragically cut short, leaving a lasting mystery and impact on Hollywood. The intrigue surrounding her death continues to captivate people today. The famous Black Dahlia suspect. One of the most surprising suspects in the infamous Black Dahlia murder case is Orson Welles, the famous director and actor. This theory was introduced by Mary Pacios in her 1999 book, Childhood Shadows, The Hidden Story of the Black Dahlia Murder. Pacios, who grew up with Elizabeth Short in Medford, Massachusetts, set out to uncover the truth behind the case. She aimed to correct misconceptions about Short being just a sex worker or an unknown actress. Her research led her to believe that Welles could have been involved in the crime. According to Pacios, Wells's name kept appearing in her research, sparking her theory. She pointed out that it wasn't too far-fetched for Short, an aspiring actress, to have crossed paths with the filmmaker. Pacios also speculated that Welles may have had a condition known as diphasic personality. This disorder is often associated with serial killers. It causes individuals to become violently aggressive when frustrated. This could explain the brutal nature of the crime. Pacios also highlighted some eerie connections between Wells's work and the murder. In the 1940s, Welles performed a magic act where he pretended to cut women and mannequins in half. More chillingly, he designed mannequins with mutilated faces. This resembled Elizabeth Short's appearance after the murder. These mannequins were created 3 months before Short's death, adding a strange coincidence to the theory. Despite the controversial nature of her theory, Pacios remained firm. She argued that no one cared about Short's memory, so she was determined to share what she believed were the facts. The Black Dahlia murder remains unsolved to this day, with no charges ever being filed. The case continues to fascinate people, as various suspects, including Orson Welles, remain part of the mystery surrounding one of Hollywood's most chilling unsolved murders. Carl Switzer. Carl Switzer, best known for playing Alfalfa in Our Gang, later The Little Rascals, had a life that ended in tragedy. After his child acting career, Switzer struggled to find steady work, eventually becoming skilled at dog breeding. This skill would lead to his untimely death in 1958. Switzer was hired to train a dog for a man named Moses Samuel Bud Stilts. When the dog ran away, Stilts demanded Switzer either find the dog or pay him an equivalent sum. Switzer found the dog, but it cost him $50, equivalent to about $500 today. Feeling frustrated, he went to Stilts's house to confront him. Accompanied by his friend Jack Poole, Switzer and Stilts got into a heated argument. According to Stilts, Switzer threatened him with a knife, which led Stilts to grab a gun for protection. During the struggle, Stilts's 14-year-old stepson, Tom Corgan, almost got shot by accident. In self-defense, Stilts shot Switzer in the groin. Switzer was taken to the hospital but tragically died from internal bleeding shortly after. The stories about the incident varied. Corgan later stated that Switzer came to the house drunk and that when Stilts pulled out the gun, Switzer told Poole to leave. As they turned to go, Stilts fired the fatal shot. The case was ruled self-defense, but Corgan later admitted that Stilts intentionally killed Switzer. Switzer's tragic death marked the end of a troubled life that had once promised great things in Hollywood. His story is a sad reminder of the harsh reality that many child stars faced after their time in the spotlight. A rift in romance. Jeanette MacDonald and Nelson Eddy shared a heartbreaking love story that seemed almost too tragic to be real. But it was very much a part of Hollywood history. Both were stars in the 1930s, known for their roles in popular movie musicals. Their on-screen chemistry quickly blossomed into a real-life romance. However, their happiness was overshadowed by powerful obstacles like Louis B. Mayer, head of MGM Studios. Mayer was concerned that their relationship could negatively affect their careers. In Hollywood's conservative atmosphere, a romance like theirs was seen as problematic. Mayer disapproved and even tried to sabotage their relationship. The situation became more complicated when Jeanette discovered she was pregnant with Nelson's child. In the era's scandalous climate, having a child out of wedlock would be disastrous for their careers. Mayer threatened to blacklist them both if they kept the baby. Under intense pressure, Jeanette reluctantly chose to have an abortion, despite her love for Nelson. This decision caused a rift between them. The situation took a darker turn when Jeanette suffered a miscarriage, but Mayer and others believed it was an abortion. Heartbroken, Nelson ended their relationship. Mayer manipulated Jeanette into signing more movie contracts and went to great lengths to keep the couple apart. He even went so far as to damage Nelson's car and send threats. When Mayer passed away, many people attended his funeral, but one person expressed the sentiment of many when they said they just wanted to ensure the SOB was really gone. Jeanette MacDonald's forced abortion is a painful reminder of how Hollywood once controlled stars' personal lives. This led to devastating decisions and heartbreaking consequences for the actors involved. Superman's demise. The mysterious death of the actor who famously portrayed Superman has intrigued people for decades. On June 16, 1959, George Reeves was found dead from a gunshot wound. The official report ruled it a suicide. However, many have questioned this conclusion, suggesting foul play might have been involved. At the time of his death, Reeves was struggling in his career after his Superman fame faded. His personal life was also reportedly troubled. He was engaged to Leonore Lemon, but their relationship was strained. On the night of his death, Lemon and her guests allegedly waited 45 minutes before calling the police after hearing a gunshot. Actor Fred Crane later claimed that Lemon returned to the room and said, "Tell them I was down here." This raised more questions about what really happened. One popular theory is that Reeves's death wasn't a suicide, but a murder. Some believe Eddie Mannix, a powerful Hollywood figure with a reputation for shady dealings, may have been involved. It was rumored that Reeves had an affair with Mannix's wife, Toni Lanier, which might have led to a vengeful act by Mannix. In addition, no fingerprints were found on the weapon, which seemed odd. But despite these suspicions, the case remains unsolved. Adding to the mystery, rumors surfaced that Toni Mannix confessed on her deathbed. She claimed her husband had Reeves killed in retaliation for the affair. Despite the lack of solid evidence, the possibility of foul play has remained a persistent theory. This has kept Reeves's tragic death as one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries. Death in the Bungalow. William Desmond Taylor's mysterious death on February 1, 1922, remains one of Hollywood's most puzzling cases. Taylor, a popular film director, was found dead in his bungalow in Westlake, Los Angeles. He had spent the evening with his girlfriend, Mabel Norman, but what happened next raised many questions. When Taylor's body was discovered, a crowd had gathered. A man claiming to be a doctor appeared and declared Taylor died from a stomach hemorrhage. But this doctor quickly disappeared. Further investigation revealed that Taylor had actually been shot. This raised suspicions about the true cause of his death. Several people became prime suspects. Mabel Norman, Taylor's girlfriend, and Mary Miles Minter, an actress obsessed with Taylor, were both questioned. Edward Sands, a former employee who had stolen $5,000 from Taylor, was also a suspect. But the investigation took an even stranger turn when, just a week later, police were ordered to stop looking into the case. Some believed Taylor's death was connected to the mob. Taylor had been outspoken about his strong anti-drug stance, particularly the substance abuse on movie sets. He had even exposed a crime ring trafficking illegal substances, which put him at odds with powerful figures in Hollywood. It was rumored that the mob, angered by Taylor's actions, orchestrated his murder and used their influence to cover it up. Tallulah Bankhead. Bankhead was known for her larger-than-life personality. This included her career in the spotlight and rumored relationships with both men and women. Her fearless attitude toward living life on her own terms made her a constant source of fascination and controversy. Bankhead's life in Hollywood was full of scandal. She was very open about her use of alcohol and drugs, and she never shied away from discussing her sexual exploits. Her candidness about her desires and relationships shocked many in a much more conservative time. In fact, she once agreed to star in Devil in the Deep because she wanted to sleep with actor Gary Cooper. She had several high-profile relationships with both men and women. Rumors spread of affairs with some of the biggest stars of the time. Bankhead even reportedly underwent 4 abortions before having a hysterectomy at age 31. This is something that is far less common and even more stigmatized in those days. Despite her controversial life, Bankhead became a Hollywood legend, known as much for her personal life as her acting roles. Her outrageous behavior and willingness to defy social norms made her both a target of scandal and a beloved icon. She was unapologetically herself, making her one of the most fascinating figures in film history. If she were around today, she would definitely be a tabloid favorite, with her fearless and free-spirited nature keeping the public intrigued. An iconic, controversial relationship. In Hollywood's golden age, Greta Garbo and Marlene Dietrich were 2 of the biggest and most glamorous stars. Garbo was known for her roles in films like Anna Karenina, while Dietrich gained fame with movies like Shanghai Express. Both women were powerful, beautiful, and influential. But rumors circulated about a secret affair between them. During that time, a romantic relationship between 2 women was taboo, and such a revelation could have ruined their careers. Despite this, reports claim that Garbo fell deeply in love with Dietrich. But Dietrich is said to have viewed their relationship as nothing more than a fling. Afterwards, some suggest that Dietrich began gossiping about Garbo, which hurt Garbo's feelings deeply. As a result, Garbo allegedly asked future lovers to keep their relationships entirely secret. This secretive aspect of their connection became more popular when author Diana McClellan published The Girls, Sappho Goes to Hollywood. In the book, McClellan suggests that Garbo and Dietrich's relationship was part of a larger web of shared lovers and hidden connections in Hollywood. Despite these claims, both actresses denied ever having a romantic relationship. In fact, they both insisted they had never met, despite starring together in a German silent film years earlier. This contradiction has left many wondering if their story was truly as innocent as they claimed, or if Hollywood's biggest stars were hiding something much more fascinating, a serious problem. Thelma Todd was one of the brightest stars in comedy during the peak of her career. She was known for her work with comedy legends like the Marx Brothers. Her unique charm and perfect comedic timing made her a favorite among audiences, in particular as the beautiful, comedic love interest in many films. However, Behind the scenes, Todd struggled with a serious drinking problem. This was well known to her friends and colleagues, though rarely discussed publicly. This addiction may have contributed to the tragic events surrounding her death. On December 14, 1935, Todd was found dead in her car, parked in the garage of her beach house in California. At first, police suspected an accidental death or possible suicide since there were no clear signs of foul play. However, many, including her friends and family, felt something wasn't right. Some suspected her boyfriend, Roland West, who had a troubled relationship with Todd. Rumors suggested her death might have been the result of foul play, possibly staged to look like an accident. Despite these suspicions, police never brought charges against Roland West or anyone else. The scene of her death left too many unanswered questions. To this day, many believe that the true cause of Todd's death remains a mystery. Whether it was an accident, a suicide, or something more sinister, her untimely passing left behind a sense of loss for Hollywood's golden age and its comedic legacy. Headed to prison, Spade Cooley was one of the biggest stars in country music during the 1940s, known for his musical talent and chart-topping records. His performances were widely popular. He even made appearances in movies and TV shows, becoming a household name. However, behind his success, Cooley struggled with the pressures of fame, which led to paranoia and anger issues. These emotional struggles resulted in a tragic event in 1961. Cooley's second wife, Ella Mae Evans, was a singer in his band, and their relationship was turbulent. Cooley often accused her of infidelity, and one day he became convinced she was having an affair. In a violent outburst, Cooley assaulted Ella Mae so severely that she died from her injuries. Their young daughter witnessed the brutal attack, making the crime even more horrifying. The trial that followed captured national attention. In August 1961, Cooley was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Once beloved by fans, he was now a convicted murderer. In 1969, California Governor Ronald Reagan considered granting Cooley a pardon. However, Cooley tragically passed away that same year before the pardon could be issued. Today, his legacy is more remembered for the tragic end of his personal life than for his musical achievements. Reefer madness. In 1948, Hollywood bad boy Robert Mitchum found himself in a bit of trouble that would make headlines for years. Mitchum, known for his roles in films like Night of the Hunter, was arrested for smoking marijuana, back when the drug was highly stigmatized. This incident made Mitchum a target of the reefer madness hysteria that swept through the country. The arrest took place on August 31, 1948, when Mitchum was at a friend's house in Hollywood. Police had been watching Mitchum and his friend Lila Leeds, a 20-year-old actress, for months before they swooped in. Mitchum, Leeds, and a few others were arrested for possession of marijuana. Mitchum admitted to smoking marijuana for years, and in his usual blunt style, he claimed, "I knew I would get caught sooner or later. I'm ruined." Mitchum's arrest was a huge scandal, especially since he was a young, popular actor with a large fan base, particularly among women. The media had a field day, and some even called for his movies to be banned. But Mitchum's studio, RKO, stuck by him, counting on his loyal fans to stay true. In February 1949, Mitchum was convicted of criminal conspiracy to possess marijuana and sentenced to 60 days in jail. He served time at the Wayside Honor Farm in Castaic, California. There he earned the nickname Mr. Cement Block of 1949 for his work making cement blocks. Despite the jail time, Mitchum's career wasn't over. He was released early for good behavior and quickly returned to acting. Mitchum's popularity remained strong, and he continued making films that were praised by critics. His arrest did not have a long-lasting negative effect on his career. In fact, some argued it only added to his bad boy image. Mitchum didn't speak much about marijuana later in life, but he did express some skepticism about its legalization, saying there needed to be more research first. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed these behind-the-scenes stories from Tinseltown's past. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more juicy Hollywood history. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.